Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for joining us today for this interview. I believe this is the first time the World Economic Forum is bringing all stakeholders together for this summit. And I'm just wondering, is it the pandemic that has made it imperative that everyone comes together for a discussion on this issue?
Yeah, thank you, Shafali. It's a great question. We had planned for the summit even before the pandemic. And what's happened is that the pandemic's actually just made it all the more important that we come together. What we've seen over the last year is that the pandemic has accelerated a number of the technological and social shifts that were already underway, but just made them more prominent and more pronounced and exacerbated. And this touches on everything from the virtualization of services and experiences. So the pandemic's also highlighted or exacerbated some of the underlying inequities and inequalities that take place there. So this is a really important time for us to come together, both to understand what the positive implications have been from the pandemic. I mean, it showed our potential to collaborate, to cooperate. We look at the speed with which the vaccines have been developed, but it's also highlighted inequities, right? And I think that's one of the reasons that we've had such a global demand for the summit. We have several thousand participants have already registered for the meeting, including close to 500 global executives, CEOs from around the world. And I think that's in large part just because of how important these topics are at this point in time. Yeah, so we're looking at 4 specific areas. One is around the transformation in industry. Second is around the transformation in government. Third is the underlying governance and protocols that are necessary when we connect both of those 2 domains. And the fourth is looking at kind of frontier and emerging technologies. What's next on the horizon, so that we can already be anticipating how some of the new technologies coming out are going ahead.
Great. I'm going to get into this particular issue a bit later, but what I'm keen to know more about is, the 4th industrial revolution is really powered by a fusion of several technologies, whether it's artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things. I'm just wondering, from the point of view of impacting people's lives, which of these deserves the most importance?
So, you're right. There's such a wide range of technologies here, and we see a lot of these in the news every day. Personally, I feel that the data and the associated use of that data, the governance of the data, and the security of the data is foremost, top of mind issue. For many of these services to function, they rely on a they rely on a trustworthy utilization of data, right? So who holds the data? How is it used? What's the ability of the end user, system or service users, to understand who holds their data, how it's being used? So I think everything around the data is really fundamental here. And then the second element is being able to secure the data. So not only is it being used for its intended purposes, are the people who hold the data securing it sufficiently to make sure that's not misused? And this applies not only to individual user data, but also applies to industry data. So we look at everything from some of the cyber attacks that have taken place on hospitals, cyber attacks that have taken place on energy infrastructure, public service infrastructure. So the ability to manipulate or access data that's used either on a personal level or on a, industrial level or government level is quite important. And, with that foundation, when that foundation is secure and there's trust, we can build all kinds of important and innovative services on top.
Right. And what's the next most important?
The next most important element after that, I would probably look at the application of machine learning and artificial intelligence, because machine learning and artificial intelligence then powers a lot of other domains.
So will this be one of the key unique pillars of the program in Singapore, technology governance?
Yeah, we'll have technology governance innovation as one of the key pillars up front during the meeting. And we have a number of other summits that will be taking place between now and August, including going in depth on the climate challenge. We'll also be having a jobs reset summit in June, where we look at the future of employment, reskilling and development. So each of these summits will be generating outcomes that we can then feed into the discussions with the leaders present in August in Singapore to help have a richer discussion at that time.
Just looking at the growth of technologies and how there's a fusion of technologies within fourth industrial revolution, I'm just wondering which of them has the potential to cause the maximum disruption in the next 5 years?
Cybersecurity and its improperly secured technologies that have the potential to cause the most disruption. So we could see this playing out in the financial system, malicious attacks within the financial system. We could see it in the delivery of critical infrastructure. We spoke earlier around energy systems, water, sanitation systems, health systems. We can see it in the domain of aviation, implications that a cyber attack might have there. So I wouldn't look to any one specific technology, but going down actually this foundational layer where security needs to be part of the fundamental design within each technology as we look at that. And that's where I'd say probably the greatest potential risk comes from.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking our time for today.